Gamescom 2022 gave us a hands-on look at one of the most unique and exciting games on our massively hyped for list, Lies of P. A dark retelling of Pinocchio with a Souls-like edge. Coming to Game Pass on day one, our curiosity is piqued. Here's a deeper dive on what we've found on Lies of P, with some of our new gameplay too.
Pinocchio may seem like a strange tale to base a steampunk gothic adventure game on, but this is more like author Carlo Collodi's original dark story than Walt Disney's rose-tinted animation, which is exactly why developers NeoWiz went for it. Lies of P takes place in the city of Krat, which seems like a lovely place were it not for the spread of petrification disease and bloodlust-fueled violence that has recently taken over it. You play as Pinocchio, who, like always, is a puppet, but the word puppet in this world appears to mean something different. They're more like automatons or mechanical androids. We saw from an in-game loading screen that these machines were invented by Geppetto, an engineer in the Chamber of Machina workshop. He's going to play a key part in the story, as you apparently start the game finding a single note which says, "Find Mr. Geppetto, he's here in the city." We also saw on another loading screen that there seemed to be something of a puppet crisis after which puppet hunters were needed. It seems quite likely that they're these guys posing quite nicely at the end of the newest trailer. If you're already planning your next Halloween costume, take notes. Oh, and we also saw mention of something called the Grand Covenant, a set of orders given to the puppets to make sure that they obey humans and never tell a lie. Not all puppets got this inscription though, apparently, and given that the bulk of the folks we fought are mechanical in some way, we can hazard a guess that this is the aforementioned crisis. It's a crisis that Pinocchio may be a part of, as throughout the story, through dialogue options, he's able to lie to NPCs, and this can affect not only their relationship with him as a character, but also the ending of the game as a whole. After all, those puppet hunters really seem to hate liars.
When you kick off, you're greeted with a choice of 3 combat memories to start from, providing you with some base stats and starting weapons. There's the Path of Crickets, Path of the Bastards, and Path of the Sweepers, with the names indicating what sort of playstyle each one suits. So let's look at the character stats. The majority of these you can change at Stargazers as you go. More on those in a bit. But here is what these roughly equate to. There's Vitality, which seems to relate to your HP levels, Vigor, which might affect Stamina, Tenacity, which seems to be related to Guard Max HP regeneration stats, a specific blocking mechanic, and Capacity is quite simply max weight capacity, i.e. how much you can carry. Now, this is again an early Gamescom build we got our hands on, so it might change before the final product, but we can take a little guess. The other 3, Motivity, Technique, and Advance, are a bit more complicated, as they seem to dictate what weapons and arms you're able to use. Some require a certain grade before you can wield them effectively, so keep an eye on those stats if you want to use some of the crazier weapons. We had a go at each of these combat memories and found a lot of variety in the different ways your Pinocchio can go about fighting. Whether he's being deviously silky with the rapier, going for brute strength with the clockwork smasher, or the saber's balance between the two. Personally, I'm looking forward to getting creative with mixing up different weapon parts to make my own individual build.
To make his way through Krat, Pinocchio is gonna need all the help he can get, and luckily Lies of P has weapons and then some. Not only are there many different types of weapons, but each of them comes in 2 parts, the handle and the blade. The devs told our very own Charlie at Gamescom that there are over 100 different combinations available here, and that each of them can have different stats and special moves known as Fable Arts. These are able to be used once you build up the little segments in blue in the bar in the top left during combat. This means that you can mix it up with the weapons you choose, and you don't have to fully say goodbye if you find another one you like. If you've spent a lot of ergo on that precious blade of yours, and if you find a new handle you like, no problem, simply switch it out and reap the benefits. Another perk of Pinocchio being mechanical is that he's able to sharpen his blades on the move too, using grinders that are attached to him so that your weapons are almost always as sharp as can be, and you don't have to wait to repair them. Pinocchio can also block, though this doesn't completely negate damage. Any damage you do suffer though, you can get back from attacking the enemy right back within a certain time frame, so be aggressive. This only appears to work for melee attacks though. In the Gamescom trailer, we see that a blast of Fulminis doesn't replace the damage lost. If you get a perfect guard though and block as soon as the enemy attacks, you suffer no damage and can break the enemy's weapons. So make sure to add some guarding into your steady diet of attacks and rolling too. Oh, and final tip, keep an eye for a white glow around enemy health bars. If it's there, hold down RT for a charged strong attack and it can cause them to become groggy. This works with certain Fable Arts attacks too. Groggy staggers them and makes them vulnerable to a fatal attack with RB, although this only works with certain angles. Could make for some sweet easy kills though.
To boost these stats as you play though, you need two things, Ergo and Stargazers. Ergo basically functions as the souls or runes of this game. Enemies drop it in various quantities and you lose it upon death. And of course, soul style, you can pick them up again if you head to where you perished. Ergo is used to buy items from merchants. A word to the wise, there is one right at the beginning of chapter 2. Stargazers are more like bonfires or sites of grace. Upon finding one, you can warp between them, get your health back, access your storage box, change your character's stats, and upgrade weapons or swap Legion arms.
The thing that makes Pinocchio stand out from his Souls-like peers though is his Legion arm, or should that be Legion arms? These are able to be switched at Stargazers and each have different abilities, some purely offensive, some useful in other ways. For example, the aptly named Puppet String can launch into a combo, but can also move enemies closer to you or you closer to them, Batman style. We also saw Fulminis, which shoots out some nasty electricity, Falcon Eyes, which fires a drill Bioshock Big Daddy style, and the Flamberge, which acts as a flamethrower. These can lead to some status effects too, like burning. Note though that like the blades and the handles, you need to have a certain amount of motivity, technique and advance for some of them to work properly, but this in combination with the pick and mix of handles and blades mean that your Pinocchio can truly be your own, and you'll have a hell of a time experimenting until you find your perfect match.
On your journey through Krat, there are several items you need to consider as absolutely invaluable, the Pulse Cell being one of them. Acting a bit like an Estus flask, this fills up your health bar and has charges, and seems to be able to be charged by Ergo. Monad's Lamp also seems to be pretty essential too, as it appears to contain this game's equivalent of a Jiminy Cricket. We hear it speak in the trailer, and judging by its description, it seems like it'll help you navigate the city should you need it. And from the looks of Krat, you absolutely will need it. There's also a mysterious item known as the P organ, which has its own menu. This seems to be a part of Pinocchio that you can upgrade with collectibles known as quartz. It's different to character stats in that there are specific abilities you can choose to improve, like increasing speed, moving backwards, or recovering stamina after doing certain attacks. If you group these together in one of the notches, then you can unlock another buff, like increasing pulse cell recovery. This is absolutely not everything when it comes to items, we're sure. There's even an item that appears to kill Pinocchio instantly for some reason. But these are the essentials that show just how much you can make this puppet your own.
So that's what we could dig out on Lies of P from what we played. Are you excited for this Day 1 Game Pass drop next year? Let us know in the comments below, and for more on Lies of P and all things Xbox, subscribe to Xbox On. Bye!